Have you ever noticed that some people just are not happy unless they are busy making other people unhappy? So to them, the way to be happy is to make your life miserable. Yeah, we're talking about narcissist, and you probably have that narcissist in your life. You may have the person's picture in your mind even as we speak. And you got to know this, that this person that you're thinking about, the picture, that image that you have in your mind of this narcissist, this is an unhappy person. So the cycle kind of goes like this. The narcissist spends his entire life, it seems, or her life, trying to be happy by making other people miserable. But when you do that, these other people, by and large, few exceptions, but most people, if you make them unhappy, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to fight back, right? They're going to fire back. They're going to try to make your life miserable too. And so that is the problem that the narcissist that you know, chances are, and virtually every covert narcissist that I've ever encountered, even people with just narcissistic tendencies, controllers, ultimately they are unhappy people because they have this barrage of enemies that they have made over the years. Depends on how old they are over the years. And they're constantly in this flux where they're trying to replace their enemies with new friends, quote, friends, unquote. Talk about that some more in just a moment. But, well, let's talk about their character, because here's what happens. The more a narcissist attacks other people, what happens is the more that these people attack him, and the more they talk about it, and the worse this person's reputation becomes. Now, you got to keep in mind there is a difference between an individual's reputation and a person's character. The character is who you really are. Well, the narcissist is he's a narcissist. She's a narcissist. They're crooks. They're devious. They backstabbers. Their ultimate goal is to boost their ego however they can do it. That's their character. Their reputation, maybe not, because they tend to be very charismatic. They're very friendly. They're very affable. They know how to manipulate people, get inside people's brains. They have this, even though they have an absence of effective empathy, they have this other empathy where they are able to read people's not read their minds, but they read their body language, and that tells them what they're thinking. Just like when you say a word, it tells you what is on your mind. We also speak non-verbally, and narcissists tend to be very good at picking up on that, and that's a form of empathy called cognitive empathy. So they're good at that. Why do we say all that? Well, because it all comes back and haunts them. Because that reputation that they work so hard to build, that charismatic individual, begins to erode. And their true character begins to emerge, comes to the surface, and everyone sees that. So these people, I got to tell you, they can be extremely, extremely unhappy because that's their life. Now, everyone has something that makes us unhappy. But we tend to, know how to deal with things. Most people do know how to achieve at least a little bit of happiness just by being decent people. So the first thing we notice about narcissists and what makes them unhappy is just that character deficit, which they try to cover with a fake reputation, which will wear thin eventually. I mean, from the very beginning, it begins to wear, and the older the narcissist gets, the more people he has to deceive, and the more people he deceives, the worse it gets. Again, they're not happy unless they're making other people unhappy, and when you make people unhappy, they try to make you unhappy. Speaking of a narcissist, so they're always chasing. This is another thing that makes them so unhappy, is they're always chasing happiness. So what they are doing is they are always chasing the thing that makes them unhappy, thinking they're chasing the thing that makes them happy. So it doesn't really matter what you are dependent on. Somebody could be dependent on narcotics, and they say, man, if I get one more hit, I'll be happy. But what happens is it makes them even more unhappy. So they try to get one more hit again, and it makes them even more unhappy. So they're trying to dig themselves out of a hole. It doesn't work. The more you dig, the deeper you get. That's what's happening with a narcissist. So they're constantly chasing after happiness, and they cannot possibly find it. But this is point number 3, by the way, they are also chaste. We kind of alluded to this just a moment ago, but you know, a narcissist, or the guys that I've known who are narcissist or narcissistic, have narcissistic traits, some of them, this is a real problem because they're always looking over their shoulder. They have screwed over so many people. They have so many people they have hurt. And the older, again, I said this a moment ago, but the older they get, the worse it gets. Because they have, sometimes they have this whole collection. I mean, dozens, maybe scores, maybe even hundreds if they're, you know, really bad at it. Or good at it, however you want to say it, of people looking to hurt them, trying to pay them back. So they constantly got to be looking over their shoulder because somebody's coming after them. And sometimes the people who are coming after them are the authorities because narcissists, you know, rules, laws are for everyone else. They break them. They're entitled to them. So what makes them narcissists? Well, you know, the state doesn't like that. The government doesn't like that. They have these rules set up, and you got to go by the rules. And if you don't go by the rules, then you have a penalty to pay. And narcissists, they just, you know, rules are for everyone else. And guess what? If you scam people, you know, for example, if you write bad checks, check deception, that's illegal. So now you made 2 enemies. You made the enemy of the person that you wrote the check on who didn't get his money, and you made an enemy of the state because the state is now obligated to prosecute you. And yeah, I know people who have written so many bad checks. I'm talking about narcissists. You know, they're entitled. They're above the law. That they have been both sued and they've been prosecuted multiple times. Imagine that is your life. Now, I don't think I would be happy. And I wouldn't be if I lived that kind of life. But the narcissist, that is his life, and his solution is to reach out for more happiness, to try to find more people to scam. More dependency on, you know, ego boosting is his or her narcotic of choice. Number 4, they have this problem. We alluded to this a moment ago, so we're just going to talk about this a second, but they have the ramifications of feeling entitled. You know, that sense that they are better than everyone else, so they break the law. Well, there's ramifications. So these people, it seems that they are always in trouble, or they're always trying to get in trouble. I know people, if you check public records, and you probably ought to do this, if there's somebody who you suspect of being a narcissist, and maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. Maybe they're straightforward, honest people. Why not find out? Now, if you're going to dig deep in with somebody, like maybe get married to them, or maybe start a business with them, or maybe hire them, it just makes common sense that you would check into their public record, and that you would expect them to do the same to you. So you both know, you know, you're honest people. But there they have it. They have the ramifications of feeling entitled, of thinking they're above the law. I would not be happy. You know, if I had a court record as extensive as that of some people I know, and I know people, they have, I mean, dozens and scores and scores and scores of items, you know, at the courthouse, at the county courthouse. Who knows what they have at the state level, but just at the county courthouse. They've been sued multiple times. They've been prosecuted multiple times. I would not be happy with that. And I don't think they're happy with it. But their solution, as we've already said a couple times, their solution is to get another fix, you know, to just dig the hole a little bit deeper. Another thing that makes narcissists so very unhappy is the fact that, well, they are just painfully irresponsible. We like to say, you know, I've had people in my life, and we would say about him, or other people would say about him or her, the one thing you can count on this individual is you can't count on him. You know, you can always depend on them to be undependable. That makes them happy? I don't think so. I mean, initially, it may make them unhappy that, hey, I got out of responsibility. Well, cool. Maybe your responsibility was to do your job, and you didn't do your job, so yeah, I got out of that. Guess what? You're going to lose your job. You know, if you keep missing, you're going to lose your employment. And yeah, I've known people who have lost their jobs for that very reason. You know, they would try to pull one over on the boss, thinking they're very sly, thinking they're very smart. Well, goodbye. You know, go find a job somewhere else. You can only do that so many times, and nobody will hire you. The next thing is they're unhappy because they tend to be alone alone, all by themselves. Because their relationships are very superficial. Just on the surface. Okay, it's fake. They don't have friendships, they have victims. They lure people in, they have prey, let's put it that way, people they prey upon. The way that I like to say it is, I can't remember how I say it, but people who prey make good prey. By that I mean narcissists love to attach themselves to religious communities because those people, they want to be good people, Religious people, well, some of them do. And that makes them vulnerable to narcissists, so they prey upon those who prey. And what happens is they find that those relationships, because they are superficial, because they really don't care about people, they just want to take advantage of them, they wind up being alone. I like to use the analogy of the chicken farmer who is just using his chickens. He's not really friends with his chickens. He just uses them because he wants their eggs. And if they quit supplying him with eggs, he's going to have them for dinner. Have them for dinner. And that's the same thing that is true with a narcissist. He's not interested in friends. He just wants their eggs. He wants their supply. He wants to boost their ego by taking advantage of these individuals. You ever try to be friends with a chicken? Go ahead, try it. You might like your chickens. You can name your chickens. I don't have any chickens. I know people who do. But basically, the reason you have chickens isn't so you have friends, right? Maybe some people do. I guess it's okay. But most people have chickens so they can have eggs. That's it. They're a supply. There's nothing else. Narcissists have chicken coops. They don't have friends. Sometimes they call them something different. One guy said he didn't call it a chicken coop, he called it his jewel box. And the people that were in his box were very special to him. That was his spin on that. So all these people that he was scamming, I am so special. I get to be in your jewel box. Talk about arrogance. Where are these people coming from? So the point is they are very much alone. So we use the analogy of chickens. I also like to use the analogy, as you know, of puppets. If you can't be manipulated by the narcissist, you cannot be his, quote, friend, unquote. That's a criteria. If you are not manipulatable, if you're not malleable, you can't be the narcissist's friend. If you're not going to be a puppet, they don't want anything to do with you because that's the only kind of friend they have. And those aren't friends at all. You think they are. If you are the narcissist's puppet, you think you are his friend initially. During the love bombing stage, the fooling stage, But after that, then it becomes painfully obvious. Let's talk about 3 more things because these are important. One thing I've noticed about virtually every narcissist I have ever encountered, with a few exceptions, got to say that, doesn't apply to everybody, but they tend to be financially broke. They just don't have resources because they're irresponsible. The one thing you can depend on them is you can't depend on them. They're irresponsible, grossly irresponsible. Again, I know some narcissists that are doing quite well, or at least they're breaking even, or they, have a middle class livelihood. But most of them, they don't have 2 nickels to rub together, and the 2 nickels they have to rub together, they stole from somebody. And the only way they're going to get anything else financially is they got to scam someone else, and so that is their life. They are not. But I got to say this. Most narcissists I have met can give you financial advice. Lots of it. They can give you business advice. They could tell you what is wrong with the other guy and how, someone else who is living a very responsible life, very middle-class lifestyle. They could tell you why that individual has got it all wrong, why they just don't, they just can't handle money, according to the narcissist, but the narcissist is so broke, doesn't have a car, maybe, has to borrow cars for people. I've known a couple of individuals like that. They're always moving from place to place because they don't pay their rent. They never have a job because they don't want to be told what to do. They can't afford a car, so they have to trick people into letting them use their car, or they, bum rides from people. They're just broke, Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not happy when I'm broke, and I've been broke before. Particularly in my early adult years, first married. Yeah, we kind of struggled. Couldn't always pay the utility bills. You ever had your lights shut off when you have a little baby? That's tough. I was not a happy camper, period. I don't think my wife and baby were happy either, because being broke doesn't make somebody happy. Money doesn't make happiness, but at least paying your bills, I mean, you have a little bit of happiness. Now, I'm stopping and thinking back how miserable I was, and I'm thinking about narcissists who have lived their entire lives like that. I mean, decade after decade after decade being destitute only because they're narcissists, because they're irresponsible. These are not happy people. That narcissist who is in your life, he's not happy. She is not happy. If they are happy, chances are it's fake, or more likely they're not narcissists. You know, they may have narcissistic traits, but they're not narcissists. The other thing we need to mention, a couple other things, is they're not happy because they're repulsive. I mean, there are individuals, not many, actually I can think of one, but there is an individual who is so toxic. I mean, her personality is so repulsive because she's a polite term is jerk. I won't be in the same place with her. And I know other people, and I feel bad about it because I didn't see it earlier, but other people have had the same problem. They would not be in the same place with this person. They are so toxic. Now imagine that you are so repulsive and you are so toxic that people don't even want to be in the same room with you. Now, that's not happiness, I don't think. I mean, some people, no, I can't think of anybody who would find that to be happy. And I think probably the last thing that comes to mind is they are unhappy because, well, these people just know that they are fake. I mean, they are just fake. I mean, they're false their whole life. As I like to say it, they don't just lie. They are a lie. Their whole life is a stage performance. And there are people who will fall for it initially, but eventually they will catch up with them. They will cut. That's what we said at the very beginning. So we've gone full cycle, but it always catches up with them. They know they are fake. How do you know they know? Well, during the love bombing stage, why are they so nice? Because they know they're not nice. They have to fake it, so they know they're faking, right? They know deep down inside there's something missing, so they have to fill that hole, and they tend to overfill it. So it's no longer a deficit, but now it becomes a mountain, and that mountain is narcissism. 2 rectangles on the screen. You guys want to keep talking together? Let's do it. We can keep hanging out. Just click one of those 2 rectangles. Our conversation will go on. If not, well then, thank you for stopping by, and see y'all next time.